Hey everybody, welcome. Welcome to Daily Reflections with Chris, and I'm Chris. So welcome to my YouTube channel. What I do here is talk recovery for me as it pertains to, I share my experience, strength, and hope as it pertains to my recovery from alcoholism, and I share it with you so that maybe at some point you would find some hope or some energy or some zeal or something, not because I'm that powerful, but because hopefully I may offer you like a solution that works if you don't already have one, right? Or that you can work it to accompany you in your daily life, your daily walk. I don't claim to know everything about recovery, but I do feel like I feel confident enough that I know enough to be able to share something with you. So today, I usually read out of the Daily Reflections for the topic, and I don't have my book with me, but I did read it earlier, and it talked about the God idea, right? So, and I know what page it's on right here because I looked it up, not because I know every page number, but because I looked it up, I did my research, and I want to read a little bit from this book, which is the one that started it all. This is the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Which just a little history, right? So when they didn't know what to name the book, right? And the way Bill W. did it and Dr. Bob is they wanted to include everybody. So this book was written mostly by Bill W., but it was edited and revised, and stuff was taken out and stuff was put in by the first 100, right? They all had to be in agreement before he could print one, because that's the way he set up the program, that a group conscience, that God would reveal himself through a group conscience. In other words, they would take a vote and they would discuss some of the topics that are written in this book, right? So the original title of the book was going to be called A Way Out, and then after discussion they decided just to name it Alcoholics Anonymous. That's the name of this book. But the reason I say that it was called A Way Out is because it really has been a way out for alcoholics who were doomed hopeless, right? Before Alcoholics Anonymous, there were other groups, the Washingtonians and the Oxford groups, that were helping people recovery, but they had all these rules and they had all these criteria that wouldn't allow everybody to be a part of. Everybody and anybody who wanted to be a part of it, they couldn't be a part of it because, if you wanted to be part of the Oxford groups, you had to be part of a certain religion. And if you wanted to be in the Washingtonians, then you had to agree with everything that they did. And instead of helping the alcoholic, they started being crusaders for abolition of I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the word right, but they started to be part of this movement that would abolish alcohol. In other words, for lack of better words, they became haters, right? Alcohol haters. And Alcoholics Anonymous doesn't hate alcohol. They just don't consume it, right? People who are in recovery don't consume it because of the effect that it has in their body. And they make that really clear, that, when a normal person drinks, they don't have the same effect like when I drink. If I put one drop of alcohol in my body, like I'm chasing the next drop, and then I'm chasing the next drink and the next drink and the next drink, and then when that's not enough, I start looking for drugs, I start looking for people, I start looking for just about anything to get me high or to help me numb or to help me forget. And that's when all the outside issues start coming into my life. And you've heard me mention before, Big Red doesn't do that to me, nor does iced tea, nor does a glass of milk, right? So that type of allergic reaction only happens to the alcoholic type, the alcoholic drinkers, which is me. So So why do and I'll get back to why I mentioned that the original version of this book was called The Way Out. The original manuscript was said A Way Out was the title. But of course that was changed later on to just Alcoholics Anonymous. I did my research and I found the part in this book that the topic was actually brought from for today's daily reflection. So the daily reflection, the title was called The God Idea. Okay, so I'm going to read the reference from this book that it uses for that topic. Okay, and this is on page 52 of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It says, we had to ask ourselves why we shouldn't apply to our human problems this same readiness to change our point of view. We were having trouble with personal relationships. We couldn't control our emotional natures. We were a prey to misery and depression. We couldn't make a living. We had a feeling of uselessness. We were full of fear. We were unhappy. We couldn't seem to be of real help to other people. Was not a basic solution of these bedevilments more important than whether we should see newsreels of lunar flight? Of course it was. When we saw others solve their problems by a simple reliance upon the spirit of the universe, we had to stop doubting the power of God. Our ideas did not work, but the God idea did. Wow. So this topic, as I read the reference, I realized that this topic is fully loaded, right? So the actual chapter that it comes out of is called We Agnostics, right? The God thing, for some reason, is big, especially, it's big in the sense when it comes to recovery, when it comes to who we're gonna trust, right? It's big in the sense that it's like almost a risque topic to talk about, because we don't want to sound too holy or too religious, because it's not a religious program, it's a spiritual program. So in We Agnostics, it talks about the people who never believed, the people who believed but then became unbelievers, and then the people who are indifferent. They don't care either way, right? So right now it's pretty much asking us, like, how to quit the debating society, pretty much, to give it up. Like, why does it matter if the egg or the chicken came first, right? Like, we had to, at some point, if we wanted to get better, if we wanted to recover, we had to make a decision to not want to tear every little idea apart into a million pieces to only try to prove other people wrong, you know? And so it says, like, at some point we had to have complete readiness, which means that we throw away every old theory and we trade it in for a new one, right? So, and it says also that my ideas didn't work, so I'm have a complete readiness to get rid of my old ideas, which only bring misery and depression. It says here, I mean, I read this and I thought, like, my God, this is what I've been searching for all week, because I've been having trouble with personal relationships. I have not been able to control my emotional nature. I've been prey to misery and depression. I can't make a living. I have a feeling of uselessness, and I'm full of fear. As a matter of fact, I'm very unhappy right now. And in that state of mind, in that state of being, there's no way that I could be helpful to anybody. I mean, I could probably help somebody move a chair or throw the trash. I can do that. I mean, I'm not completely uselessness, but I feel uselessness because I can't even be steady right now. I can't be stable. Some people might call me disappointing or unreliable. I mean, there's a lot of things going on right now that it's got me a little freaked out about where I am in my recovery, because I'm thinking, man, I should be better than this. Than that. I should be doing better right now. Like, why do I keep doing these things over and over? Well, because somewhere along the way, I started using Chris's old ideas, right? Chris's ego, Chris's arrogance, Chris's controlling issues, Chris's demanding ways of being. You know, those things that I have to inventory of. What's provoking my fear? What's provoking, these other defects of character that I have? My anger issues, my inability to keep my mouth shut. What's provoking all that? You know, these past couple of days I've been having to think about that a little bit, because the truth is, right here where it says we couldn't make a living in some cases because, for me, I couldn't keep a job. Why couldn't I keep a job? Well, first it was because I drank and drug while at work. I was costing my job money and customers and clients because I was always drunk or high or causing a fight or getting, being disrespectful or not listening to my bosses. Like, those are the stuff that I did under the influence of alcohol and drugs. I just was not a very nice person to be around. Right? So it's asking me here, well, can we use this God idea to help us with that too? Whether we're drinking or not, right? Because just putting the top on the bottle, just not drinking was but the beginning. I had to get down to causes and conditions. The big book tells me that. Well, I have to ask myself, Chris, why are you still in fear? Why are you still doing this? Why are you still acting like that? And I don't have answers, right? Until I do an inventory, until I look at it for what it is, I don't have answers. I don't have answers for my boss. I don't have answers for people in relationships with me. I don't have answers for my family members. I don't have answers for nobody, because I don't have answers for myself. I have to look into it to be able to have answers. But even when I get these answers, what am I going to do with those answers? Right? What is the ultimate solution? Well, it says right here, when I see others solve their problems by a simple reliance upon a spirit of the universe, it's not even saying God. It's saying a spirit of something's out there, a higher power, something's out there that can help me with this if I let it. When I see my coworkers have great attitudes no matter what, when I see the people at my group have really good relationship with their partners, I mean, I have to kind of ask myself, or ask them, tell me what you're doing, because nothing I seem to be doing is working. And they say, well, I just pray about it. I just give it up to God. I say this prayer and I think, like, my God, I know that. Why am I not doing that? Because I'm still relying on myself. I'm still thinking that my ideas work. I'm still in the debating society. Who's right? Who's wrong? Whose fault was it? Why do I gotta be quiet? Why won't that person take responsibility? All these questions, all these, tearing these situations apart, just so I could prove somebody wrong when I'm the one that's wrong. And I hate saying that. I hate saying that I'm wrong. I hate admitting that I haven't been acting right. That is one of the hardest things. I mean, my pride really just feels like just having this conversation right now makes my stomach hurt, makes my heart hurt, makes me feel small. So I had to ask for help tonight, and I asked, and this was our topic at our meeting actually tonight. So I asked one of the members who shares often about how his work, how people try to get a rise out of him, but he stays real calm. And I asked him, how do you stay calm? How do you stay calm at work when you're dying to say something? And he tells me, well, I gotta analyze myself. Is it worth it? Am I being a rock that people trip over, or am I being part of a whole? And I'm like, man, just that? It's that simple? He says, no, it's hard. It's hard. He says, but the serenity prayer, that's a really good prayer. And I said, yeah, it is. He says, what's the very last part of the serenity prayer? And I said, I don't know, wisdom to know the difference? And he says, no. The very last part of the serenity prayer is, thy will, not mine, be done. He says, and if you can't remember anything else, remember that. If you can't say anything else, because you're so heated, try to say that. Thy will, not mine, be done. He says, and you'll see that will take you a long way. And I was like, yeah. And I said, man, I know that, but why am I still here? Why am I still dealing with the same things that I've been dealing with since day one? He said, Chris, be easy on yourself. He said, this is a lifetime process, man. You ain't never gonna be perfect, but there's a solution that works if you want it, when you're ready, when you're able. He says, it takes practice. Ain't nothing like practice. Practice, 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 practice. He said, and nobody can do that for you. He says, you have to do it for yourself. You have to make up your mind. In other words, I have to be completely, I have to have the same readiness to change my point of view. I have to have the same readiness to change my point of view that I did with alcohol to my human problems now. I have to have the same approach, the same attack, the same solution. And he says, and that's all you can do. He says, just keep applying the solution to it. That's all you can do. He says, and if you were meant for that spot, you're going to get it. He said, and if you were meant for that job, you're going to get it. If you were meant for that person, y'all will stay together. He says, but you have to do your part. Nobody can do it for you. And you can't do it if you're stuck trying to control everything. If you're miserable, if you're unhappy, if you're depressed, if you're full of fear, if you're uselessness, if you can't help nobody, I mean, you might as well just stay home. He says, you have to do the work, Chris. And man, I felt like crying the whole time he was talking to me, because I know he's right. I have to do the work. I have to stop debating who was right, who was wrong, who's going to pull up and who's not. And I have to do the work for me. Just like my mom couldn't stop drinking for me. People begging me to stop drinking didn't work. I had to come to a point where I was willing to do whatever it took to recover from alcoholism. I have to be willing to do whatever it takes to work on myself. And only I can answer that. And the truth is, if I'm not ready, I'm not ready. Just continue to screw stuff up, Chris. No problem. Just keep on going. just keep on going. I mean, at some point you might drink again. I'm sure you might even drug again. I mean, like just do it and then tell me how it works out. But if you don't, if you want to be different, there is a solution. It's right here, and it's easy. A simple reliance upon the spirit of the universe. I have to stop doubting the power of God. My ideas do not work, but the God idea does. At some points, I gotta get right size. I've been having some conversations with my bosses I don't really like. I've been having conversations with, with the personal relationship that they're hard. Like, it didn't end well. And while maybe that relationship wasn't the one for me, I still gotta show up to work tomorrow. And how am I gonna show up? Angry, fearful, full of resentments? Or if I want, I can choose to show up different by allowing a higher power to come into my life and help me be different. I couldn't stop drinking no matter how much I wished. Same thing as with my defects. I can't stop doing them no matter, just by wishing them away. I need something more powerful than that. I need something that's gonna bring about change within my life. And that doesn't include getting fired, doesn't include people walking away, that doesn't include me making an ass of myself, that doesn't include me being completely broken, homeless. There's a better way that has already been offered me, that I already know that works, but somewhere along the line something happened. And I didn't take a day off. They gave me a day off because they had to, not because for any other reason, right? But with everything happening the way it did, and me being able to go hang out with a friend, a true friend, for a day, and I slept in. I slept in a very comfortable bed. I meditated, I prayed, and I went to a really, 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 my God, this meeting was insanely awesome, and had very, very nice dinners we went to some very, very nice restaurants to eat, and had some really good conversation. And being able to have that as a treat, even though I wasn't, not because I was acting great, but because I wanted to be kind to myself. Because I know that when I'm in those moments where nothing is going right and I'm messing everything up, I have to be kind to myself, because ain't nobody gonna be kind to me during those times. Even though they are, there's nothing like my own kindness to myself, to be able to give myself a nice meal, relaxing atmosphere, some really good, just really, really be able to take care of myself, so that to love on myself enough to give me what I need to, so that I'm able to ask for more. It's strange. It probably doesn't even make any sense. But at some point, that little crack opened up just enough so a little bit of hope could come in, a little bit of sense could start, a little bit of hope could start creeping in, to the point where I was like, okay, I need help. Let me ask for help. And the guy pointed me to this and says, you gotta work on this, Chris. And that the topic was the same thing is no coincidence. It was just confirmation. Be like, okay, this is where you are. You messed it up. We've been there. You've been there. They're like, Chris, you've been there. Day one. If you wanna work on it, if you wanna be different, this is what we do. We simply rely on the spirit of the universe, on the power of God, and give up your old ideas. Stop trying to be right. Stop trying to be a show off. Stop trying to, you're freaking, I don't want to make this video very long, but there was something that he said that made a lot of sense to me. He questioned me. This elder, right at my meeting, he says, Chris, how do you show up to work? I said, what do you mean? He says, well, when you walk in the door, do you show up like you know everything? Like you're the boss? Like, do you look at like your co-workers like they're really small with big ears like bunny rabbits? Or do you show up he said, do you show up like what you think you are, which is that person, like know-it-all, arrogant, looking down at everybody? He said, or do you show up like you know who you are? And that really clicked for me. He says, if you know who you are, then you don't gotta show up like that other guy. You can show up like the hard worker you are. You can show up on time. You could take a bath before you get there. You could look good, smell good, feel good. You could pray, you can meditate. He says, show up as who you know you are and stop trying to outperform everybody. He says, because that other stuff has got you in this predicament. He says, the choice is yours, it's nobody else's. And he says, and if you stay on track, your reputation will change in time, but not before then. And if they still want to take you to the next level, they will. And if you don't, and it won't, he says, if it don't, it won't bother you. If you show up who you know you are, them taking you or not, it's not gonna bother you, because your reliance won't be on them. It'll be on a higher power. It'll be on the spirit of the universe. It'll be on God. It'll be on something different. And when he said that, I said that's what I want. I want to be that person that no matter what happens, doesn't dive off the edge with a bad attitude or with a bunch of crazy words coming out of his mouth, or resentment or fear, but that no matter what, he stays even. I said, that's what I want. That's who I want to be. That guy right there. He says, well, so that's what you got to do. For us, this is the solution. For people like us, he said, this is the solution. So why did I go into a big old history about the name of the book? It's called The Way Out. Because he said for us, this is the way out. This is the solution. Yes, my YouTube channel is on recovery through the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. But recovery is for anybody. And your way out doesn't have to be drugs or alcohol no more, or women, or gambling, or smoking pot, or cheating, or strip clubs. It doesn't have to be that anymore if you don't want it to be. If you have readiness, if you're ready, you can find a way out in your neighborhood. Pray about it. It'll show up. Ask for help. It'll be given to you. Why do I say that? Because that's exactly what I did. I just said a simple prayer. God, I don't want to be like this no more. Please help me. And I have to do that for every single defect of character. I have to do that when I'm stuck. I have to do that when I'm lonely or tired or fearful or hungry. When I'm broke, I have to think of that when I'm negative in the bank account. I mean, like, life happens. It doesn't stop happening. It doesn't get perfect, and it doesn't get, it gets beautiful, but it doesn't get perfect just because I stopped drinking. And for me to survive, I need tools. And if you're out there feeling like you can't survive anymore, I invite you to a meeting. And if it doesn't work, if this is not where you belong or where you want to fit in, that's okay. But try something. Try something. Go to your church. Go to your therapist. Ask your friends. People who are married, ask them how they stay married, if that's what you want. People who are making a lot of money, ask them how they made a lot of money, if that's what you want. People who are sober, ask them how they stay sober, if that's what you want. I have learned that nothing keeps me more stuck than my old ideas. If I want to be rich and I'm still broke, I'm still doing my old ideas. If I want to be married and I'm still single, I'm probably still holding on to a bunch of old ideas. If I want to be at the top and I'm still at the bottom, I'm probably holding on to my old ideas. And nobody can help me more with my old ideas than replacing that with a God idea. I've been here before. It's worked before. It's never left me empty. Did I get stuck? Yes, but I'm ready. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready right now more than I was when I started this video. I was ready. I was more ready when I started this video than I was 2 days ago. Something happened. I'm grateful that I didn't drink. I'm grateful that I didn't drug. I'm grateful that I had people around me that were willing to listen to me vent. I had people around me that were willing to share with me what they were going through. And folks, I realized that I ain't got it that bad. Why I act like I do, I'm not sure. It's probably fear. I really have to go look at that. Why am I so scared? What am I scared of? And if I'm scared, then I don't have God. I don't have God in my life. If I'm lonely, I don't have God in my life. I had a really cool one-on-one counselor when I first came into recovery, because I wasn't, I went to treatment, outpatient, but I did go to treatment. And she was, she would ask me, like, why do I still continue to let certain people hang out? Or how am I feeling today? And I'll be like, oh man, I'm great. Yeah, everything's good. She's like, no. How are you really feeling? And one day I said, I'm lonely. And I don't think that must have been the first time I ever said that. And she said, well, if you're lonely, it's because you don't have God in your life. And I've always kept that with me. And when I feel lonely, I say, okay, I don't have God in my life. Start praying. I start listening to music. I start doing the things that uplift me. And then I start hanging out with friends with no strings attached. And that loneliness vanishes. It says in the Bible that it will. It's a promise here that it will. And it has. And it does. Does it creep up? Heck yeah. It tries to come in and creep up on me. And I'm just like, whoa. If I'm lonely, I need God. Start making a gratitude list. I start calling people on the phone. I have like 100 contacts in my phone. And ask me how many people of those I really call on a daily. Sometimes I don't call anybody in that phone. Yesterday I didn't call nobody. Well, I called my friend James, my friend that I went to go see in Houston, because to give me that, to let her know I was on my way. But once I got to Houston, I didn't call nobody. one of the tools they gave me early on was, no, Chris, you got to call 3 people before noon every single day, and not the same people. So I'll go down my contacts and I'll call the first 3 people before noon. And then the next day I'll call 3 more people before noon. And I kept going till I hit, oh man, you know, some of these people will be like, my God, thank you for calling me, man. Thank you. They don't know who. They're like, wow, hello, Chris, you okay? Everything good, man? It's like, yeah, man, I just want to call you, say good morning. I hope you have a wonderful day and you doing all right? And some of them be like, no, man, I've been drunk for the last 2 days. And we talk. Somebody say, oh my God, I just got this job, man. And we talk about that. Someone say, I'm getting married. Some of them say, life is good, man. Thank you for calling. Some say, hey, you know what? Actually, I'm glad you called because I could use your help in this. You know, I just don't ever know what's on the other side of that phone call. But it helps. It just helps me to get out of myself, call somebody else, and life gets good. I know you're probably thinking, well, Chris, if you know all those tools, why are you still stuck? Why are you still acting crazy? Why are you still doing stuff that doesn't work? Because I forget. Because some stuff happens in my life that knocks me down harder. There's just some stuff. It just puts me in a place where it's like, it takes me a minute to get out of it. Sometimes I can't even breathe. I'm so filled with, with worry and fear that I get stuck. They told me a long time ago, it says, you don't drink or drug tonight, you're gonna stand a chance. If you drink today, it's all over, Chris. And sometimes I just don't drink. Whether I may be stuck for 3 days, but if I don't drink, I'm gonna make it. And folks, I've been stuck for a while now and I haven't drank, and guess what? I'm making it. I'm not even the same person that got on this video 37 minutes ago. Something is happening to me as I share with you what I'm going through, as I share this solution, as I share what I know, as stuff is coming to my mind that I hadn't thought about. And for me to be in this space where I don't know what I'm doing, I'm stuck again, I'm never gonna get better. I know what I'm doing. I'm not stuck, and I'm getting better. That is a promise that this book gives me. I read this book tons of times. I could probably quote some pages. But I know what it says, but I forget. But as I share with you, I'm being reminded. I have the solution. I have an idea that works, and that's the God idea. It's so simple. Folks, I don't know if I made any sense today, but I'm really glad that you hung in there with me. I'm grateful to have you on my channel, and I feel like sometimes these YouTube videos help me more than they help you. I welcome any comments that you have, any suggestions. If you want to tell me what you think I should do, go ahead. Okay, I'm just here to share my experience, strength, and hope. This really good friend of mine says, sometimes you're the teacher, sometimes you're the student. She says, but you will never know when. You don't know when the teacher is the student. I might be the teacher today, but I feel like the student. Folks, thank you for tuning in. Tomorrow I hope to have my book with me and be able to share with you some experience, strength, and hope on the daily reflections. And so for today, the title will be a little bit different. I'm not gonna put daily reflections, but I will title it, and hopefully you can share this with somebody who you think you might use an encouraging word, or might just want to hear a little bit about how I did it. have much more to say after that. Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye.